What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum to keep up to date with the community debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. A massive shout out to Colin Turner for smashing the super chat, and I'm going to say a warm welcome to Sleeping Warrior. How are you doing?
Woo!
Woohoo!
Good.
Excellent stuff. So, are we going to be on what's the word? Watching our P's and Q's today, not talking about things that might want to be talked about. What's the score?
Well, should we rattle through housekeeping quick?
Yeah, we can do. Have you got anything for it? Just let me know in advance. Is it going to be a quick one?
Is what going to be a quick one?
Housekeeping. Have you got something specific in regards to housekeeping, or did you just want to get it out of the way?
Well, I know. No, I haven't got anything specific. It'll be a quick one.
Fair enough. Any signs of curvature?
Definitely not. No.
So no Earth curvature. Okay. Any signs of axial rotation?
Oh.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Oh, none.
No. No signs of Earth rotating. Okie dokie. Any evidence of a gas pressure being maintained without a container for all those people who believe in the vacuum of the sky?
Can't have gas pressure without a container, Nathan. It's part of the description, the definition. If you don't like the definition, you're gonna have to make some new one up. Maybe call it atmospheric pressure, and then you can call it something else, and then we'll just say no.
How you doing, Paul?
Good morning.
Hey,
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What about scientific evidence of gravity?
No, there is no scientific evidence.
Hey, Ranty.
How do?
Hello. Long time no see.
Indeed.
Any evidence?
I've got an afternoon off.
Oh, wonderful. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
No.
No distance to the sun. Fair enough. What about a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of
No.
Nah.
Nope.
Last but not least, any evidence of the presuppositional R value, Earth radius, gentlemen?
No.
What's she doing?
She's on her feet. Is that there?
I can just hear Paul's background noise.
Oh, sorry. All right, hang on. I'm
That's all right.
I'm actually on the wrong account too. I'm just going to go and come back.
That's all right. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okie dokie. That concludes the housekeeping. Good stuff.
Anybody know what's happened to GlobeBusters?
Yes.
Oh, you do? Right. Okay. Can you spill the beans?
Well, I've got the information secondhand from Anthony, so that's why I prefaced the beginning of the show by saying, are we going to discuss this? Got no answer other than let's do housekeeping. Hey, Chocolate.
Oh, right.
But no, I'm not in Communicado with the GlobeBusters team, but so, shout out to Eagle, Plane and Anchor for the super chat. Thanks for reminding me to smash the super chat, Colin Turner. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate your support.
Yeah, I do know what's gone on with GlobeBusters, and I know the ins and outs of it, right? And I'm not going to divulge what's gone on for why. What I am prepared to do is reassert my position, and I'm sure Nathan's prepared to reassert his position, and I'm sure that everybody understands the position that's currently the hot potato. And let's not forget that there is an issue on the table that's devastating to conspiracy cats and the ball earth nonsense of gas pressure. This is a convenient distraction and a distraction technique to pull us away from that point. So let's not forget about the gas pressure point, because gas pressure does require a container, and we have got gas pressure. If you're going to argue, well, how do you have a pressurized gradient in a without a container or within a container? Our view is you've got to address where the gas pressure comes from first. You can't hand wave dismiss that, because we do have gas pressure. You have to demonstrate how we have gas pressure first. So in the context of not losing the momentum that's been gained on that point, yes, we can talk about what else is happening. But I'm not going to go too far into it other than reassert the position that's caused something to happen, because this is an issue that is absolutely on topic. It's legitimate. It's valid. And basically what this is doing is showing, or this one point is showing the effects of science being raped by pseudoscience, because we all know that technology isn't science.
Sorry to interrupt. Hello, UK Truth. Can you hear us? I'm feeding back from somebody. I don't know who. You hear us, UK Truth? Shout out to Flatball. Still smashing the globe heads. Nathan, you're a beast. Keep it up. Thanks very much for the super chat, Flatball. Really appreciate the support. Sorry, UK Truth. Were you trying to say hello?
Ranty, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. I've just been busy.
No, that's fine. It was probably something and nothing. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't. It was something. Monday. What are you doing Monday? Do you want to go down to Wales?
All day?
Across to Wales. Across
to Wales.
Oh, I can't do Monday, Ranty. I've got a whole day. I can't. I can do. What other days can you do?
None. It's Monday that the boat's being hired on Monday, so
shit, I can't.
Everything's going to go down on the Monday.
Sorry, I can't.
No worries.
Right, listen.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer.
It is, because it's going to be a massive opportunity.
Let's try UK Truth again. Can you hear us, UK Truth?
Yeah, hi, Nathan.
Good to have you.
Right, well, let me do something, Nathan. Oh, I'm screen sharing.
You're on. You're on.
All right, so I'm having to do this over two screens. One of them's not next to me, so let me just try to reposition myself. Right, so we all know that there is an issue at the moment whether or not science and technology are the same. Now, basically, the allegation against Bob by the Globers is a misrepresentation, right? On two counts. One, Bob did not do anything. Somebody else did do something, but Bob did not do anything. So the allegation against Bob personally is not true. Bob did not do anything. The claim that is made is that the Earth's rotation was proved by a flat earther. When they use the word proved, it triggers something. It triggers the interpretation or the application of this scientific method that we keep talking about. And unfortunately, when you use the word experiment or proved, that is in that direction. Problem is, if you're going to claim that somebody's proved something, you've got to show that you have adhered to the scientific method. So what I'm going to show is 3 tabs that basically tell us that we must manipulate the independent variable in the scientific method. Because if we don't manipulate your independent variable and we simply measure a result, then we're not proving what's causing something. We're measuring it, like a ruler will measure how long something is, but a ruler doesn't tell you what's causing the length to be the way it is. Or a speedometer doesn't tell you what's causing the speed, it just tells you what the speed is. So at the bottom of this citation from rochester.edu, in the conclusion it says, the scientific method is intrinsically associated with science, the process of human inquiry that pervades the modern era on many levels. Whilst the method appears simple and logical in description, there is perhaps no more complex question than that of knowing how we come to know things. In this introduction, we have emphasized that the scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation, namely technology, because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. You have to do systematic experimentation. You can't just do measuring. Measuring is not experiment. Measuring is measuring. Technology, in this case gyroscopes, they are creating, or they are measuring something, but because you can't tell what they're measuring, you're not because you can't manipulate the variable, be it the sky or the earth. The mere fact that we're arguing over what is it measuring means that we're not proving what the cause is, but you have to have the experimentation part of it. Second citation, Northern Carolina, University of Northern Carolina. In an experiment, the independent variable is the variable that is manipulated or varied by the researcher. You have to manipulate it. Second point, second citation. And then the third point, and just definition on Google, on Wikipedia, experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. So basically, we can conclude it by saying you've got to wiggle it. If you can't wiggle it, then it's not science. You can measure it, you can observe it, you can do other things to indicate what's going on, but you've got to wiggle it. If you can't wiggle it, it's not science. You've got to be able to wiggle it. So what I've done here is I'm only going to play a couple of seconds for this because I know that there's an issue with
just play it all the way through, but just kill the sound halfway through.
Okay, kill the sound halfway through. I'll just pause it. So to help people on our side that are 50-50 that are not sure, you've got to wiggle it, right? So I want everyone to remember the words of this song. Most of us will remember this song because it's definitely of most people's era. So let's remember this is how to remember it.
Wiggle it just a little bit. I want to see you wiggle it just a little bit. As it grows, wiggle it.
So basically, if you're going to claim that the gyroscopes prove that the Earth turns, you've got to wiggle the Earth turn. You've just got to wiggle it a little bit, but you've got to wiggle it to prove that the thing that you believe is what you're observing or measuring in this case is the cause of the effect that you're measuring. So everybody accepts that the gyroscopes are demonstrating a 15-degree rotation, but you've got to wiggle it to prove that it's the rotation of the Earth. If it's not going to be able to be wiggled because it's the Earth, then it's not science. You might want it to be science, but it's not. It's an observation or a measurement, but it's not science. The only way you can have it as science, you've got to give it a little wiggle. So everyone remember that song, because if the minute somebody says whether it's science or not, the question you ask is, what did you wiggle? Because if you didn't wiggle it, you did not prove it. That's the point. So you can interpret that any way you want to, and everybody's got the ability to make the interpretation. You can interpret it in favor of or against anybody that claims the word experiment or the word science. Because when they do something, ask them, what did they wiggle? Because if they didn't manipulate it somehow, they haven't proved what it is. So the claim against Bob, that didn't do anything anyway, is that he proved that the Earth turns. Well, unless Bob's able to, which he didn't do anything anyway, but even if Bob did do something, unless Bob demonstrates that he wiggled it a little bit, then we can't tell what he's measuring. We accept that there is a 15-degree rotation from the fiber optic and the ring laser gyro. But we also know that those gyroscopes are measuring light. We also know that mechanical gyros do not support the same result. Mechanical gyros do measure momentum. They don't measure light. So we can see the stars are turning above our heads, and we can conclude that we think the stars appear to be turning. But the mechanical gyros are showing a 0 result when you put a mechanical gyro on this 15 degrees of rotation. If it was really the Earth that was turning, you would expect the mechanical gyro and the ring laser gyro to both give the same result, but they don't do it. And that's because, and the reason why there's an argument over it is because we can't wiggle it. And if you don't wiggle it, it's not science. That's the reason there's a fallout. Everybody understands that point. So remember, anybody that uses the word science or experiment, you've got to wiggle it. If you haven't wiggled it, it's not science. It's something else. It might be a correlation. It might be pseudoscience. And if it is pseudoscience, that's fake science. But if you've not wiggled it, you haven't proved it in science. You might have done something else, but you've definitely not proved it. Does everybody get that? Straightforward.
What you're basically saying, what you're basically saying is you must vary and manipulate the presumed cause of the effect. So if you're going to talk about Earth rotation being the cause of something, then you need to vary and manipulate it. You also, in the hypothesis, have a 0 difference result. In other words, both formulated alternative and null parts of the hypothesis have the same outcome, but one is caused by your presumed cause and one doesn't give you any effect. So in other words, if you presume that your cause causes the effect and you vary it and it does cause the effect, then you validated your alternate hypothesis. Whereas if you vary it and nothing happens, then you get a zero difference or null result. So the reason you have this quoted empirical method is because at the end of the systematic experimentation you will validate one or other of the sides of the scientific prediction, also known as a hypothesis. So if you get no result, zero difference, you validate the null. If you actually cause the effect, in other words, your presumed cause was correct, then you get the effect, validating the hypothesis as true. Your presumed cause was correct. So that's why it has two halves. Not just confirmation, but also a null.
Let me address Red Pill Philosophy in chat. He says that Rumpus said yesterday that science doesn't prove anything. So there's no scientific proof for the heliocentric model? Question. No, Rumpus is wrong. Science proves a cause and effect relationship. Science proves what is causing the phenomena that you claim that you're observing. So if you're going to claim that the sun appears to set behind a horizon and therefore the earth must be turning, science has got to prove that the earth is turning. Otherwise, it's not science. Yeah, you can make it a story, you can make a prediction about it, you can even model it on a computer, but that's not science. If you're going to prove that the earth is turning and that's the cause of the setting sun, then you've got to wiggle it. Otherwise, it's not science. Again, wiggle it. Everyone will remember that now. Just give it a little wiggle, because that's what you do when you're proving science. Now, you can wiggle it with a little bit of technology to make it do what you need it to do, but you have to prove that the thing that you're doing, the thing that you're assuming is your cause, you've got to wiggle it with something, right? To prove that it is causing the thing that you think it's seeing. So unfortunately, if it's the stars that are turning above our head, or the earth turning that makes us think we're on a stars turning above our head situation, then you've got to wiggle one or the other to prove what it is. And obviously we can't prove either. So unfortunately, you can say, well, this is just your interpretation of science. It's not mine. I've just given 3 citations for different universities that said the same thing. You've got to wiggle it. If you can't wiggle it, it's not science. And that's the reason why science is getting raped by pseudoscience, because we're not realizing that pseudoscience is raping science, and that's what we've got to stop. So literally, if you can't wiggle it and demonstrate the thing that you say is causing what you're seeing, if you can't wiggle it, it's not science.
Shout out to Leonardo for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. And in regards to Rumpus claiming that science doesn't prove anything, why would it be the case that he claims the whole body of science proves you're on a ball if science doesn't prove anything? The reason is simple. The science that he uses, that would be the reification fallacy, that the body of science somehow has something to say about it when it's actually a method of inquiry. That science, actually pseudoscience, proves nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that would be the science that Rumpus refers to. The empirical scientific method absolutely proves or disproves your hypothesis. So to say that science doesn't prove anything is wrong. It proves or disproves your scientific prediction. That's why you do it. You make a prediction and then prove or disprove whether or not your prediction was correct. Correct if you cause the effect by varying and manipulating your presumed cause of the effect. Then it's proven and backed by systematic experimentation to also validate the repeatability aspect of science. Not repeated observation, which is often what we are claimed or demanded we produce. Well, if someone repeated this observation, who cares? The scientific aspect of repeatability is the repeated process of experimentation. The repeated aspect of validating or invalidating, proving or disproving your scientific prediction, otherwise known as a hypothesis. So science absolutely proves things. That's why they indoctrinated us with it at school. Not because they ever expected any high school students to go out and perform systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis. Far from it. They just want you to know in school that science proves things. So from there on in, when they tell you science and present pseudoscience, you'll believe at a deep-seated level that you've had something proven to you, even when it's not. All they need do is invoke the word of science, and we can take it through the method. Oh, it's science, you say. Well, let's see whether it's adhered to that method. The scientific method. The one that proves or disproves a prediction. That one. Let's see if it adheres. Oh, it doesn't. Why did you call it science? Oh, what's that? You say science has evolved? What, beyond an empirical method? Well, why are you calling it science then? Oh, because it's so useful to convince people you've proved things. That's why Rumpus uses it. The whole body of science. Right, Rumpus? Not necessary? Doesn't prove anything according to you? Yeah, well, it does. If you follow the scientific method, it does. It proves or disproves your hypothesis.
I hope that everybody's got that song impregnated in their mind all day, because the idea is to pick up a catchy tune so that makes the point that you've got to wiggle it. The more we can get that point across to people to demonstrate that this is what science actually is, then we can emphasize the point that's really happening in real world, that for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, Bob does appear to want this gyroscope to be scientific. And we accept that it's measuring 15 degrees of rotation, but I don't understand why you won't accept that it's not proving cause. Yeah, you can try and infer it by inference, but unless you actually manipulate it in science, that's where it falls short. You can imply it and claim scientific, but when challenged, legitimately, when challenged on topic, on a point that is legitimate dispute, nobody should get the head chopped off and be removed from FE core chats. But that is what's happened. Now, ultimately, it's a legitimate point, but it's not cool to react by like pulling down the haunches and preparing for a storm and just weathering it, when really the answer is obvious and we all know what science is. We have to manipulate it, right? And we all know what technology is. Well, this is the bit, there's an overlap a little bit in that you can use technology in your scientific research, right? But so long as your technology is making that thing manipulate, then that will be your manipulation, that you're using technology to manipulate. But you've got to prove that it is manipulating it. You can't just measure it. So if we can get our head around that principle, that concept, then we can apply it and we can spot where science becomes pseudoscience, and we can cry foul. And then the person that's claiming experiment has to then show what he did to manipulate the independent variable. And if it's inferred only by another experiment from somebody else or whatever, then that's not science, that's pseudoscience. Might be legitimate, might be honest, it might be intentionally to do the good thing, but it's not science. So again, wiggle it just a little bit. That's
Shout out to Eagle, Plane and Anchor for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Said what Nathan said. Very good.
While I completely agree with your point, Riley, like I was actually better off without that song in my head. So now it's going to be in my head for the rest of the day. So thank you very much.
You'll remember it now, though, won't you, Chocolate? You got to wiggle it, right?
Oh, God. I'm trying to forget it already, guys.
Can I answer the question I was asked, though? What? It's a shame that this has to be about one of the people on our own side. You know, we would be less stuttering and less cagey about what we're saying if this was just a random globe head. But the reasoning is the same. It doesn't matter who we're referring to, so I'm not going to specifically name anyone when I say what I'm about to say. And that is to say that it's extremely powerful. So there's a very good reason why people like Rumpus say the body of science, because it has an effect on you, the individual that's listening to those words. And the effect is simple. You think it means something's been proved. Well, that's so useful on either side. It doesn't matter which side applies that logic. If I say science, then what I'm saying proves things. That's what effect that magic word has. Well, I wouldn't want to relinquish it if I'd just spent the last 2 years telling people how science proves the ether, because it doesn't. But it sounds like it does when you say it that way. Science proves the ether? Oh, right. Ah, when you're causing a bit of feedback, my friend. Maybe it's just because you just joined. Good to have you.
Hello.
Hello. Good to have you. Yeah, you're definitely causing feedback.
I got feedback?
A little bit.
Oh, shit.
Turn your speakers down.
Fresh mic, Garwin.
Yep.
You got headphones on?
Yeah, still figuring this one out, though.
Could be Anthony. Let's just blame Anthony instead.
Okay. It's all your fault, Anthony.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's power. Saying science is power. That's basically it. you wield a lot of power if you can convince people that you've proven things just by saying the word experiment or science. Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to give that up either. Sounds pretty crap if I say, I've looked at this, and why am I still getting feedback? Can you pop yourselves on mute if you're not talking? I'm just hearing myself feeding back.
Is it coming from me?
I don't know who it's coming from. Probably Anthony.
Oh no, I'm seeing it on my side. That's not nice.
Oh, Win, for God's sake. Sort it out with your new microphone.
Sorry.
Anyway. Yeah, I just want to make this point. It's just power. You know, you can convince people that what you've said is proven if you say science. That's it. And people don't want to give that up.
So are we going to glance over the main point of why there are no videos on this channel we're speaking about?
They've all been set to private.
Know, or...
They've all been set to private. This has happened before, in fact, in very recent history, with Gary Awesome, who did exactly the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was put in a position where suddenly he had to accept that his list of idiocy, putting himself at number 9, a useful idiot, on his own list by punting the narrative of space based on photographs that he hadn't taken and were given to him by a priest of a wizard in a second law of thermodynamics violation. Upon having this information, he decided to strawman the living crap out of me, claim that a load of the people literally in the audience right now went over there and flagged his channel, to quote him specifically. Well, no, people went over and commented about his nonsense, and then he shut his channel down in the same way GlobeBusters has, set everything to private and claimed that it had been flagged. I don't know what the claim is from Bob. Anthony knows better than I haven't been in touch with Bob. I'm just getting this information secondhand from other people who are telling me that I'm being smeared by Bob. So, fun for me. As the chat comments have said, the tip of the spear takes the most damage. Well, in this case, the damage I'm receiving is from one of my own, even though I'm trying to save their ass from their own ignorance, i.e. their ignorance being that they've claimed this is a big problem, in quotes, because science has proven something when it hasn't. So their own idiocy and stupidity in regards to science, has left a television company promoting the fact that we as flat earthers have proven the bloody earth spins. Well, no, we haven't. We haven't applied science. We just have people who are ignorant claiming science because it means they seem clever. That's it. Well, that was a very easy thing to resolve. You know, I've managed to get around this problem with several other people, including Dr. John D and John Savage, both of which had a similar reaction at first. They weren't very happy about what I was saying, and with a little bit of work, they were both saying, great, this is progress. Yeah, frustrating that in the past I've incorrectly used these scientific terminologies, but moving forward, we can recognise that the people who actually control the show, which is definitely not GlobeBusters, they are 1 in 1,000% in this problem. They're not constantly getting the public to agree with them. You know, that's the mainstream media. They agree based on the same terminology and misuse of words like science that Bob and the team at GlobeBusters have been guilty of. Now, to get around that problem, you just have to admit it. Okay, we got it wrong. No, we're not adhering to the scientific method. No, we're not varying and manipulating our independent variable, otherwise known as presumed cause. Shout out to Leaf Eaters for the super chat. Thank you very much for all your support. So, yeah, but that just takes a bit of humility. You know, I didn't shut the channel down when we got it wrong about Ireland. You know, the fact that I declared on a debate quite boldly about 20 or 30 times that we can see Ireland didn't mean I shut my channel down when it was proven incorrect. By one of our own side, Chris Monk, at the time. On our side at the time. Yeah, you just have to, cap in hand, eat a bit of humble pie and say you were wrong. That's it. No foul, no harm. It didn't cause any issue with John Savage. It hasn't caused any issue with Dr. John D. Unfortunately for GlobeBusters, and this is the bit that pisses me off, all the people who put all of their time, effort and energy into producing that content, and because Bob's had a bit of a hissy fit, he's decided to turn it all off. Oh, right. Well, it's not all your work, is it, Bob? It's all those guests. It's all those people who've watched it and supported it and built up the viewing ratings. Those are the people who made that channel, not you. but you're arbitrarily going to turn all that off because you're looking a bit silly at the moment. Oh, how pathetic. Get over yourself, you bloody drama queen.
He's in the. Is anybody watching the live chat? So, Mark Taylor's just put. Did you hear about Dell on his last show? Upset for not being invited to university discussions, yet hates unity. Another hypocrite. So, I've not seen his last show, but if Dell's complaining that he's not been invited to a university debate by somebody, I'd support the assertion that that's hypocritical, because you can't complain about people joining these groups and organizations and all that, and being suspicious about these characters. You can't argue that argument and then complain that you've not been invited to a unity event. Seems a little bit hypocritical. I didn't see the hangout. I'm quoting somebody in chat, but if that's what you were doing, Dell, guess what? You can't have it both ways, buddy. You're either unity, or you're disunity. We all know what side of the fence you're on, but don't come moaning if you didn't get invited to a hangout or a group, a social event that's involved in a group. So can't have it both ways, buddy. Sorry.
Let me get it right. He's telling people, I don't watch Dell, but I've just heard this from you guys. He's telling people that we should do it all on our own and we shouldn't form groups, but then moaning that he hasn't been invited to a group meeting.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Shout out to Dell.
That's superb. Shout out to Hypocrisy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Mr. Cheswick says, nope, you can be an individual. You don't need unity. That's right. You can be an individual. But if you're going to be an individual, don't complain when you don't get invited to a social event involving with a university discussion.
Yeah, he can just do it on his own.
Yeah. Can you provide a panel? No, I don't do unity. I only do myself. Yeah, but we need 3. Yeah, no, I'm doing it on my own. Me, just me. Right, okay, well, you can't come then. What? I love it. So.
It's been a fun show. So far, so good.
I just love that. So it's funny because there's like Mark Taylor's kicking off now. I'm watching Mark's comments, right? He's not been in for ages, but his comments now, he's attacking Cheswick for not joining the panel, right? He said before, I've not got the connectivity to join the panel, right? But he does hate videos all the time. So he can make videos, really good videos, to be fair, but he can make plenty of hate videos, but he can't click the link and join the panel, can he? And obviously the point about Dell, I'm loving all this. Like, I don't know how best to describe it other than, is it drama or is it just a joke? This is nonsense. Cheswick does hate videos and won't join the panel despite having the ability to do so. And we're here every day, Cheswick. You can join anytime you want. You can challenge us on our associations or whatever you want to challenge us on, or how dodgy we must be because you don't know what's going on and you desperately want to know what's going on. And rather than ask us, you'll do a hate video instead. Yeah, we're here every day, buddy. You can join. And we'll put up with it for some time until we realise that, yeah, you're actually just taking the piss.
Isn't Cheswick a flat earther?
He claims to be.
This is annoying. I mean, as much as the issue with Bob needed to be resolved on GlobeBusters or whatever perceived issue you have with Cheswick, I don't know. This is infighting, basically, isn't it? You know, as much as it might be valid to talk about the scientific method, and it would be hypocritical if I didn't criticise my own side with the same exact problem. But ultimately speaking, it's tiny, you know, this issue with Bob is tiny in the big scheme of things. The overriding deception, using the same exact methodology, claiming science when none has been adhered to, is a globe issue. It's not a flat earth issue. It's a minor discrepancy. That's it, you know, and easily corrected by anybody who's guilty of it. And so far, at least the couple of people I've spoken to, not all 3 admittedly, have been reasonably accommodating in regards to this and have seen the benefits. Now, yeah, it might take time for others to do the same and move on and progress, but it doesn't mean they're the problem. Quite the contrary. The amount of people I've seen moaning and slagging off Bob in my comments. Now, I might slag him off for his non-adherence to the scientific method and him fighting it tooth and nail, but that doesn't mean I in any way change my opinion about the fantastic work GlobeBusters have done. They put absolutely shitloads of time, effort, money into this subject. And for that to just get pissed away on one discrepancy is an outrage. Yeah, I can moan all I like about Bob smearing me. It won't change the fact that he has done fantastic work. And we should all show him the guy a bit more respect. You know, my wanting to go over Bob, despite my reluctance, because it's a difficult subject to broach, doesn't change my motivation. I want us to be strengthened in terms of going forward and exposing the lie that we have all fallen victim to. And to be more strong, we have to not fall victim to it ourselves. But that's not to say that we need to crucify Bob Nodell. It's a bloody outrage. You know, the guy is doing his best. And yeah, he might not want to relinquish this particular aspect. Oh, I got a Chet Megal joined. Anybody got that guy? Hey, Flat and Earth.
Hello. I'm trying to remove Chet. Alright, he's gone.
Thank you.
I didn't have it open. Well done, whoever did it.
Flat and Earth. Always on the case. Okay. You only just joined. So yeah, just leave off Bob. Yeah, he's made a mistake. So what? Eventually in time he'll figure it out and he'll not do it again. And great, we can all progress together. But should we chastise the guy in the meantime? No, absolutely not. Hi, Ben, how you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
Very well. Trying to illustrate to the people in the comments section. John Watson, you know, today before the show started in, I think it was Arwin's chat, moaning about money that Bob's made. Now, I know that Bob doesn't make any money off it. You know, it's run and managed, GlobeBusters channel, by Bob. But the actual funds go to Jeren. It's done to support Jeren in Jeren's work. So Bob's not making any bloody money out of this. He's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. The fact that he's getting so much shit off me at the moment is unfortunate. I don't want to be giving him it. It is for the greater good. But ultimately speaking, all the people in chat giving him shit. What the hell have you done? Bob's done a shitload more than anybody in the chat, and as much as I shouldn't be berating my own audience, it does frustrate me to watch good people get crap for a minor mistake.
One thing I wanted to chime in with is talking before about science and wiggle it and things like that. It really isn't ego-based, because the benefit of science is it's great to be shown what you're doing wrong, because if you're doing something wrong, you're wasting time. And when you're sharing your research with someone in your experiment and they point out something that's incorrect, most likely you're going to thank that person for showing what you're doing incorrect. It's definitely has nothing to do with ego. And
well, no, I agree. I agree. It should have nothing to do with ego, but for whatever reason, Bob. Well, look at it this way, right? I'm gonna say something that I don't know whether I should say or not, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You could interpret what happened on GlobeBusters on Sunday as Nathan getting a little bit tempersome, perhaps a little bit rude. I think Nathan will admit and accept that maybe he did cross the line as a guest on someone else's show. But you can also argue that Nathan got ambushed by two high-profile flat earthers publicly, and Nathan did exceptionally well to hold his tongue. We know what Nathan's like at berating people. We've seen him berate numerous people frequently all the time. I would argue that he was ambushed by two prominent flat earthers and almost forced to try and change his mind. Now, that's the other interpretation. How you interpret that is up to you. But why is the resistance so strong against accepting that gyroscopes measure something? We don't know what it is that's measuring it, and that point is a moot point. Yes, we can discuss it, and that's the debate. But we should be observing this fact that the measurements by gyroscopes are not proving cause. But for some reason, when you say it's not about ego, I agree. It shouldn't be about ego. But for some reason, it doesn't seem to be the case. He should be dropping this point and saying, because if he does drop it, it means that the ballers, when they assert that Bob proves the earth turns, Bob didn't do anything in the first place. But it also means that Bob didn't prove the earth turns, because there wouldn't be an argument over whether the sky's turning or whether the earth's turning. The mere fact that that argument exists means that he couldn't have proved something. And that's really what Bob's best angle is. Say, look, this isn't proof. This is a little bit of technology. We're trying to use it in a scientific observation or experiment, but we can't establish the cause. And the reason is because we can't wiggle it. You've got to be able to wiggle it, right? And that's what Bob should do. But I don't know why. I don't know why. I honestly do not know why. Maybe he's got some element of ego in it. Maybe he's got another reason. I don't know. But we all know, and everybody understands, that that scientific piece of equipment that's measuring 15 degrees is not proving what's causing it, because you've got to wiggle it. And that is the answer. But I don't know why he's holding on to it, and I don't get it.
I'm going to answer Rune Thornton's question, which was to say, did you ask to go on? Did they ask you to go on or something else? Well, basically, after about the third or fourth comment from people talking about Bob proving the Earth spin in my comment section, I cut and pasted one of the comments into FE Core at Bob and said, Bob, this is a problem I can help with. I would like to come on your show and hopefully resolve this problem. That was it. So that was my motivation. I wanted to go on and basically point out where they didn't prove the Earth spins with science. But unfortunately, they want to retain their claim of it being science. I don't understand why Anthony doesn't understand why Anthony's now appealed to them in private. I've appealed to them in public. They don't want to let it go. So as far as I'm concerned at this point, I don't know if I should say this either, but if it doesn't change, it becomes the point where we've got people who are basically dangerous in terms of their approach, because they are just following on from the same old style of controlling people. It's the exact same methodology, same magic words, and unfortunately that's something that I don't want to happen, which is why I've got involved. I didn't want to. I'm sure I said it on many streams before going on Sunday. This isn't a task I look forward to doing. This isn't something I'm relishing. This isn't something I want to do. It's just necessary. And it's the same now. It's necessary now to point it out in the rhetoric that we are currently under. Globe rhetoric, not flat earth rhetoric. So yes, you nip that in the bud on your own side, but you then move on quickly and focus back on the people who claim it all day long on mainstream media. The people who have got the control. Not us. Not Bob. Nobody, or very small percentages of people, are going out into the world and saying, Bob's right, we've got ether. That's small, very small handful of people are doing that. Everybody I go out and meet on the street thinks they live on a globe. So what's the problem here? Is it Bob or is it the globe deceit? I can tell you for certain it's definitely not Bob. This is a minor indiscretion on his part, easily solvable. Well, do you think Neil deGrasse Tyson's going to come up with that concession anytime soon? No, of course not. He's going to continue to be a problem. Now, it is my sincerest hope that the people that Anthony and I have spoken to over the last few days since Sunday and before realise where they're going wrong. And if they don't, then they genuinely become dangerous to us. They just form a new priesthood. We're going to tell you what's what and call it science, even though we've had it pointed out that it isn't. Well, okay, fine. I want to keep well away from those types of people. I just sincerely hope that the good people who've put all the effort that they have and have received all the kudos I've given them on this very stream realise how valuable they can be. Don't just disappear and turn videos all to private and tell everyone in a dramatic fashion how you're leaving. You know, it's pathetic. Man up. Let's move on. Let's carry on smashing globes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's going through his head at the minute, to be honest. I guess he's got a lot of things floating around his head, and I can't explain, and I'm not going to try. But what I do realise is that we can all work out what technology is, and we know what technology is not, and technology doesn't prove the cause of an effect. And like I say, remember these words, you've got to wiggle it. If you haven't wiggled it, you haven't proved it. Measuring something isn't proving it. That's just measuring something, and it can be measuring it with scientific or technological instruments. You can even use these instruments to manipulate something, but you've got to manipulate the thing that you believe that is the phenomena that you're observing. So if sunsets are caused by Earth rotation, guess what you've got to manipulate in science to prove the cause of the effect? You've got to manipulate a little bit of Earth rotation, and unless you're God himself, you ain't going to be able to do that. So that's why these 3 points, Earth turn, gravity, and curvature, these all fall outside of science because you can't wiggle it. You've got to wiggle it, otherwise it's not science.
And the positive or negative, the effect in the audience is that people are going, "Oh no, that stupid song."
It's legit though.
As far as the social aspect of the flat Earth community, it's pretty gosh darn welcoming. You know, I don't think anyone wants Bob to leave. I think everyone just wants everyone to get back together. You know.
No, I don't think anybody wants Bob to leave, but I do think that
is he leaving?
No, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
Because I thought that maybe that had something to do with it. But does anybody does anybody even have any confirmation as to what happened to the videos on GlobeBusters?
Yes. Bob has turned them all to private. Quite a considerable amount of work, considering with around about 5 clicks you can shut a channel down. So he hasn't done that. He hasn't shut anything down. He's systematically gone through about 85 videos and set them all to private, then proceeded to contact everybody on Skype that I know and smear me. So yeah, for that I am pretty pissed off at Bob. Pretty disgusting behaviour by all accounts. Just a drama queen. Give me sympathy. I'm hard done by. Also, Nathan's a bastard. That's what he's been doing. So yeah, I know what he's doing, and it pisses me right off, and I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, Bob, if you're listening to this, stop smearing me. Grow a pair of balls and realise where you've made a few mistakes. Accept that you're wrong, and then we can all move on happily, can't we? Or you can carry on as you are, claiming that I don't know anything about science. I wouldn't know science from a grocery list, according to Bob. Yet I'm not the one claiming science, am I? You find a quote that I've said I'm doing science, and I'll take you directly to the FE Core website where it says you're adhering to the scientific method. So I'm not claiming science. So when Bob tells people on Skype that I know about as much about science as a grocery list, or words to that effect, I'm not claiming science, Bob. You are. You did it while I was on the show with you. Science proves the ether? Yeah? So you are claiming science. So who gives a crap how much about science I know? I'd expect the one person claiming to be using science to know about it. So when I ask you what your independent and dependent variable are in your hypothesis, and you say, oh, I don't know anything about that, that is to say you don't know anything about science. So stop claiming it. I'm not. So when you go around smearing people about how little I know about science, I'm not the one claiming it. Stop smearing me, Bob.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Wow, I had
why
no
would
idea
he do
about
that?
second part.
Why would he do all that just because of the issue between you two? That's just
ego.
Sad.
Ego.
Sad.
Ego. Ego. This is hurting his pride because he's wrong. That's why. That, or he doesn't want to really relinquish the magic, because there is some magic going on here, isn't there? The word of science, meaning proof. Maybe he doesn't want to let that go. He liked being able to tell 1,000 people on a Sunday what's what. And now he can't, because it sounds rubbish if you say, I've looked at something and here's my conclusion. It doesn't have the same luster. Oh, my bad, Arwin.
No, you may be onto something there. The magic of the authority of science.
Maybe he is onto something, but that doesn't change the fact that at this point it is going personal. Let's keep it off the personal bit and focus on the bit that's not personal. Science is not technology. It might use technology, but technology is definitely not science, because, again, wiggle it. Let's not go down the personal route, because we all know there might be a little bit of argy-bargy there. Who cares? I know it's personal to Nathan, but let's not make it personal on this show. Let's point out that we know what the difference between the science and the technology is, and we're saying if we allow technology to be considered science, we're as bad as the ballers that push this heliocentric nonsense, because science only, well, heliocentrism only exists in pseudoscience, because when it's the real science, we can't manipulate Earth turn. We can't manipulate gravity. We can't prove that there's curvature, because we can't manipulate that curvature to prove that there's a little bit of obstruction at the horizon that could be anything, waves, bit of dirty air, bit of little reflection or whatever. We can't manipulate these things to prove they're the cause of the effect that we believe we're looking at. That's why they fall out of science. So heliocentricity only exists in pseudoscience. In the real science, you just don't know. How can you tell? Is it the star spinning or not? You just don't know. And perhaps it's that way on purpose. It's perhaps, you can argue, it's our narrow interpretation of science. It's not our narrow interpretation of science. That is the scientific method. You have to wiggle it. Anyone that tells you that you don't have to wiggle it, they're lying. They either don't know what they're talking about, or they're just literally lying to your face. So don't accept it. Make them demonstrate that they wiggled it. If they didn't wiggle it, then it's not science.
It's hard not to make it personal, though, when literally your associates and friends are getting in touch with you, pointing out that Bob's smearing you. What are you supposed to do about that? Not mention it? Oh, right, yeah, okay, cool. Just carry on smearing me.
Oh, no, you definitely need to address that, because it seems like a bit of power abuse as well.
Let's change gear a little bit. I want to do this.
He's riding one of the bigger channels, and then he's doing all this just to get at you because you address something that is sensitive, and that's just wrong. You don't want to have somebody at the helm that behaves like that. So it should absolutely be addressed. I totally agree, Nathan.
And on account of all the work that, I mean, it's a lot of work.
I don't think it should be addressed publicly.
Of course it should.
I'd
No,
like to
I don't agree.
Tom Racer is next.
No, it should. It's happening in public, so it should be addressed in public.
No, I
Doesn't
don't
mean
agree.
you should get into a hissy fit against one another or something and turn it into real infighting, but it should definitely be addressed in public because it concerns the public.
Well, I think. Well, wait a minute. I think what they should do, they should resolve it between themselves in the back end, and then come in and come to the public and say, "This is what we've talked about," and this is. And then they're both on there, have already worked out the issues, and they can show that they're together. And I wanted to back up and make a comment. In a way, what Nathan has done and what we're doing is actually the very peer review process that everything should go through. You know, saying that, well, that's not right. We need to relook at it. And the funny thing, we know there's a problem with it, but this is kind of what's happening. And if you don't like the conclusion because somebody's challenging it, too bad. Sorry, but too bad. But if it's true and it's valid, you need to listen, because if we're not seeing things correctly, backtrack and say, okay. I know that's what everybody's saying, but I just think it's funny that we're going through the peer review process, even inside this community. You shouldn't take it personally.
Shout out to Eagle Plane and Anchor for the super chat. It says, don't wiggle the super chat, smash the super chat. Thank you very much indeed, Eagle Plane and Anchor. Really appreciate it.
What do you guys think of my microphone, by the way? My
Much
new
clearer.
sound?
Much clearer. You sound as imposing as Anthony now. Is it a Yeti?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same mic, so yeah, you sound just like Anthony. I tend to put mine quite
No,
a
he
bit
doesn't.
further away and turn the gain right down, but you two talk right into it, which is fine.
Same sound, less girth, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not say that Arwin sounds like Anthony. That's not a fair phrase to use. But let me just pick on something Roxanne's just put. She wants to know about gas pressure in a vacuum and stuff, and that's a really, really good point. This documentary point about this 15 degrees is actually serving as a distraction. The real point that's on the table against the ball, which we need to remind these morons of. Rumpus is in chat right now. Rumpus, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Why don't you join us and tell us and then demonstrate it? Don't just tell us a pseudoscience nonsense story. Demonstrate how you can have a gas pressure without a container, because we definitely have a gas pressure, and we know that the pressure comes from the force and the impact with the walls of its container. So where's the demonstration, the scientific, all that whole body of science that you keep citing? Where is that science that demonstrates how a gas pressure can exist in a vacuum? Because we all know what would happen if you get one of those vacuum chambers and then you inject a little bit of gas pressure in it. We know what's going to happen, don't we, Rumpus? So why don't you come on and show us where the science is for how you can have gas pressure without a container?
Why would you care what Rumpus has got to say? He's just declared from the chat that science doesn't prove anything. So what is he going to do? Come along with the whole body of science? Well, no worries. If he does, I'll just tell him it doesn't prove anything by his standards.
Yeah, that's the point. Rumpus claims that the whole body of science he's now saying it doesn't prove anything, but his normal position is the whole body of science proves that we live on a ball. Okay, so where's the whole body of science in relation to this gas pressure? Because we live in a vacuum, apparently. Very, very, very low pressure. So how do we have gas pressure without the container for the force to interact with to give us the gas pressure? Gravity. Oh, great, really? So where's the demonstration? Because we've got gravity on Earth. Let's see the demonstration where gravity is manipulated, or even just demonstrated that you can have a gas pressure next to another gas pressure that's a different value, a differential. Just show how you can do it. Show us 10 psi next to 12 psi without a membrane. And we all know that can't happen, yet we have got gravity apparently. So come on, Rumpus, where's the science? Where's all this whole body of science that you keep preaching like a priest, a dishonest priest at that? You can't have gas pressure without a container, Rumpus. You know it, we know it, everybody knows it. And whatever experiment that you're going to claim, definitely won't be an experiment, because your answer is gravity. And we know that you can't prove gravity because Newtonian principles were expunged by Einstein, who snapped the wand in two and replaced it with a mathematical concept that is a reification fallacy and has no experimental application whatsoever.
You're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, then stay tuned as we will have a short after show to follow. However, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley channel live, then unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this live debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you need to keep yourself entertained after the stream ends, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Yay, Rumpus, yay. What's up there, Rumpus?
Yeah, I've got to go in a few minutes, so I just thought I'd just come on and just explain to Anthony how very, very simple it is, and that 13 and 14-year-olds can easily understand, probably younger than that, actually. So quite why he has such a problem with gas pressure. So easy to explain. I could draw a few diagrams, but I've no doubt I would be prevented from presenting the argument.
What's the question you're being asked, Rumpus?
How do you prove gas pressure?
That's not what we're
Without
asking.
a container.
We want a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. That's correct.
Yeah, and the atmosphere does that.
Sorry, that's your fundy belief, isn't it?
No, it's fact.
Sorry, that's a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. Are you saying it's what the atmosphere does? No, that's your fundy belief.
No, it's not. But it's a fact. It's measured. Everybody measures it. Atmospheric
measured what?
Scientists measure this every day.
Measured what? Gas pressure without a container? Let's see it. Let's see it.
You want me to take you up and show it to you?
No, I want you to give me a demonstration of gas pressure being maintained without a container. Demonstrate it to me.
Atmosphere. Go outside.
That's your fundy belief. So just stating your fundy belief here isn't a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. Going outside and observing the atmosphere would simply demonstrate that we've definitely got something for the gas pressure to press upon. So in my humble opinion, going outside and just having a look around proves unequivocally that we definitely have something for the gas pressure to press upon.
It's an assertion. You have no evidence for what you just said.
Oh, really? I can demonstrate gas pressure with a container quite easily.
Yeah, yes, so what?
I hadn't finished my sentence. Rumpus, my bad. I hadn't finished.
We're talking about gas pressure without
Yeah, I hadn't finished. I can demonstrate gas pressure with a container.
Yeah,
I'm asking you to demonstrate... Oh, you're still rumpusing me. I'm asking...
You're being an idiot.
Yeah.
That's not the argument.
Yeah, I'm asking you to demonstrate the contrapositive. So can you demonstrate gas pressure without? Because I can definitely demonstrate it with a container. Can you demonstrate it without? Not your fundy belief about what the sky does.
The atmosphere is a demonstration.
Yeah, I don't want your fundy belief 5 more times. I want an actual demonstration of gas pressure being maintained without a container. Don't just say it's a fact, it's your fundy belief. So I'll ask it in a different way. Other than your fundy belief about the sky, can you demonstrate gas pressure without a container?
Without you referencing the atmosphere, well, that's the obvious one because gravity is the easy way to demonstrate.
So you just keep going to your fundy belief. Is that a no? I can't give you a demonstration.
That's not a belief. It's a fact, Nathan.
No, don't just say it's a fact when I know it's a fundy belief. You're going to look at the sky and go, that proves it. That's what you're going to do, aren't you, Rumpus?
You're a moron. I mean,
no, that's just ad hominem. I'll say it one more time, then I'll kick you out and round out this after show. So, Rumpus, can you give me a demonstration of gas pressure being maintained without a container?
The atmosphere.
That's your fundy belief?
No, it's not a belief, it's a fact.
Oh, really? So I can go and get a demonstration, or you can show it me, gas pressure without a container. You can show that to me.
I can show you the atmosphere, and there you are.
What do you mean, show me the atmosphere?
I can show you the measurements of the pressure gradient, which shows how it goes from a pressure at the surface and goes up to the atmosphere, goes up to the top of the atmosphere where it's almost zero, and therefore
almost zero.
And this is something you don't quite understand. It seems to me is that your argument is that you can't have gas pressure next to the vacuum. Well, how do you account for there being a gas gradient pressure differential?
Sorry,
and therefore,
gas what
in
gradient?
Your life,
sorry,
you would say,
I didn't hear what you said. Rumpus, just calm down. I'm trying to have a civil conversation. Rumpus, I'm trying to have a civil conversation with you. Rumpus, Hello.
go upwards.
Trying to have a civil conversation with you.
Why doesn't the high pressure gas at the base on the surface of the Earth go up into the atmosphere?
Sorry, the what gas? High
Right,
what?
the high pressure gas.
What's pressure? What's pressure?
You claim.
What is
that
pressure?
You claim.
What is pressure?
You don't understand what pressure is.
Yeah, tell me.
It is the force over an area. So, for instance, if I was
Over an area? So would a vacuum count as an area?
well, you've got to have a measuring device to measure pressure.
Sorry, would a vacuum count as an area?
It's a volume.
It's a volume. So you can press on a vacuum, can you?
Press on that doesn't make any.
You seem to be muttering, Rumpus.
Well, you're a moron. It's a stupid question.
Oh, right. I'm a moron. I'll ask it a third time. You said pressure is the force on an area. So does a vacuum have an area to press on?
The measuring device would have.
Not the measuring device, the vacuum of space. That vacuum the gas would disperse into because it can't press on it. Yeah? That vacuum, Rumpus.
Nathan, the pressure in your living room. What is?
I'm not talking about my living room. We're talking about your fantasy that the sky is a vacuum. That's what we're talking about. You've given us your fundy belief 3 times. We know what you're talking about. You think the sky is a vacuum.
What area is involved in the pressure in the middle of your living room?
I'm not talking about my living room. I'll say it again.
Yeah, I know.
What
You need to
is
understand
the
why you're
pressure?
stupid.
Rumpus, what's the pressure pressing on at the top by the vacuum? What area does it have to press upon?
I didn't understand the question.
I'll say it again. What area does the gas pressure? You don't seem to want to listen to my question.
Have a measuring
You don't
device,
seem to
moron.
want to listen to my question,
You have to
Rumpus. You
have
said
a
you didn't
device
understand.
to
Is
press
it time for
upon,
you to
you
leave?
dickhead.
I think it's time for you to
have
go,
to
isn't
have
it,
a device
Rumpus?
to press upon to measure pressure, Nathan.
Yeah.
So it has an area.
What, the measuring
Whatever
device? So the
used to
measuring
measure
device.
pressure has an area.
So you're saying the measuring device keeps the sky inside
No, that's
the
the thing
vacuum?
used to measure the pressure.
Yeah, I know.
If I
What's
was to
pressure
measure
again?
The pressure in your living room.
What's pressure?
I would have to put a device.
Sorry,
in the
do you want to
middle of your
define
living room,
pressure again
and then
for
all
me?
the gas molecules would hit upon that.
Yeah, let's let you
device,
tucker yourself
and then
out.
it would measure the force acting upon it. So you need a device to measure the pressure. And that has
what
an
is
area.
pressure again, Rumpus? What's pressure?
Force over area.
Force over an area. So at the
Of the
top,
device that's measuring
yeah, you're
the
talking
force,
over me again.
moron.
You're talking over me again, aren't you, Rumpus? So
You're
what?
not listening.
What? Yeah, it's the force on an area. I listened.
Of a
So
measuring
what?
device.
Yeah, you don't need to talk
Of a
over me. You're not going to
measuring
rumpus this
device.
point. You're not going to rumpus this point
measure
up.
pressure
You're not
with
going
a
to rumpus
measuring
this
device,
point.
and that's
Yeah,
what's an
okay,
area.
Rumpus. No worries.
Idiot.
Yeah, I know you can only ad hom me. So I'll ask my question again. Let's see if he rumpuses my question again. Of course he will. Of course he will, because he hasn't got an answer. It's all right. I can hold your toast to fire. This is good fun.
Nathan,
It's all right. You get triggered. Get angry about it, Rumpus. Keep talking. Keep talking. Get angry about it. I'll ask my question. See if you can listen to it.
A device has an area to measure pressure. You need a device, and that device has area upon which the force is exerted. It's really simple.
Okay,
A 10-year-old would understand this.
Have you
but
finished?
Not you, apparently, because
Yeah,
you're a moron.
I heard. Have you finished?
Yep.
You have. Excellent. So, at the top, what does the gas...
Top of what?
It's all right. I've got 3 words out.
Yeah, but top of what?
I've got 3 words out. If you let me finish my sentence, you might hear the rest of it.
Use a fully formed sentence, you
Yeah,
moron.
try not to interrupt me.
Something.
If you interrupt this sentence, you go.
Oh, you're a moron. You're a moron. You're a moron. You're a moron.
You finished? So.
Yeah, I'm finished, actually.
Excellent. At the top of the...
Of what?
Oh, you can't let me get a full sentence out, asshole. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, asshole. What a wanker. And with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the audience in the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream for tuning into this premiering show and hopefully sharing the debate, short though it was with Rumpus. Also a massive thank you to all of the debating panel, including Rumpus, for making this after show possible. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!